Welcome back, DNA Strand crew, to the newest episode of Stardom Situm Saturday here on the Dynasty DNA Podcasting Network. I'm your host, TJ Blake. You can follow me over on Twitter at FFTJBlakeDNA, and I'm joined by the start sit master, we like to call him. He is the guy that is the Dynasty DNA propaganda minister, I like to say at times. It is my good friend, Justin Tessier, better known as Teixeira. You can follow him over on Twitter at Teixeira91. Teixeira, you ready to go? Week 9 NFL start.
All treats this weekend, TJ. No tricks. Let's get our hits and let's get these starts rolling.
That's right. Here we go. And Bob says it's about time. He's tuned in. Yeah.
Keep your eyes on the road, Bob.
That's right. That's right. Just listen to the sweet tunes of start sits. Here we go, because we're going to empty it out right now as we await some questions to come filtering in. I'm going to start with you, as always, Teixeira, for a quarterback to start in week 9. Who are you going to put in your starting lineup this week?
I'm going to go fresh off the bye, 2 weeks to prepare and take it a very sad, injured, wounded defense. Jared Goff at home, the Minnesota Vikings. I have him at a floor of 18 points with a ceiling of 26. I think one of his multi-touchdowns he gets to is going to be Jameson Williams. Johnny Morton's been talking about how he's failed him the first 7 weeks of the season, not getting him involved enough and getting him more of a presence on that offense. And I feel like one of his big plays is on tap and coming this week for Jared Goff. And I think that he's going to have a steady 300-plus yard game and just do everything they can to just maintain that pace with the Green Bay Packers in the NFC North. And I think it'll be on Jared Goff's shoulders this week, more so than those running backs. So I'm having a high ceiling game for him.
Yeah, and I think that I do agree with you. I think this is a game where they're going to have to really rely on him, and, a little bit of a revenge game here. They lost the first matchup. Am I right, Teixeira?
Yep.
That's
Hate
right.
doing it, but yep.
There's blood in the water. And, I got a lot of Jared Goff. I like him as well. And I do think coming off, this little bit of a rust will be a good thing to get him back in the fold. How many points are you looking at for Jared Goff this week?
I'm looking at 24. That's a solid number. Like, the ceiling is 26, the floor is 18. I think he hits 24. And I want to premise this too. This is treating him as a super flex position. I mean, in the one quarterback league, if you don't have any better options, I'm feeling spicy and I'd throw him in there for sure. But I'd like to pivot at more one of those top tier options if you got them. But in super flex, I'm confidently throwing him in that second spot there to pair up with one of your superstar wide receiver or superstar quarterbacks if you got him in Superflex League. I think he's a good floor play if you're looking for a ceiling from that quarterback one you got.
Yeah, and it goes back to like which quarterback's going to play better. That's what's going to win this game, because I do agree with you. I don't think that we're going to see a ton of, rushing upside in this game, whether it be Green Bay or Detroit. And I mean, they got 3 really good running backs on the field between the two teams. I do think whoever will throw the ball better will win this game. I tend to agree with you. And I do like the Jared Goff call out, especially coming back off, this layoff here and this little bit of a bye week for them. So hopefully it works out good. I think the Detroit Lions will be hungry to get a little revenge as well. Let's come over here now to my quarterback that I'm going to be starting here in week 9. And, I really thought about saying Caleb Williams because I know Bob's driving.
Oh, I dare you.
I know Bob's driving right now, and I don't want him to get in an accident because I care about my friend.
I think I heard him just jerk the wheel, TJ.
Could be road rage. Could be road rage there if he's listening to us live. I don't want to do that, and it is a good matchup, but I'm going to pivot because I really like this matchup. So I'm going to make my friend Slim happy. I'm going to go with Sam Darnold go up against the Washington Commanders this week. I mean, he has plays very, very well. I mean, we've seen him struggle against the Texans, but we talked about this. The Texans low-key, play really good pass defense. I wasn't really surprised by that, as bad as their season's been. And I'm just looking at, a bounce-back performance from Sam Darnold here. And JSN, we talked about him, on a couple different shows recently. I mean, he is a monster. He is the Seattle Seahawks offense. There is virtually no running game there. It will be interesting to see if they will trade for a running back. From what I've heard, rumors out there say that Breece Hall could be had for a 3rd-round pick from the New York Jets. That's the asking price. Will a team like Seattle or someone else come close to paying that? We'll see. But
the Steelers?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be great, but I mean, we're not going to do that. We never do anything that makes sense. But you look at this with the Commanders; they've yielded the 5th most fantasy points per game to quarterbacks. So, if you're going to see a rebound performance from Sam Darnold, it's going to have to be in a game like this. I have a lot of faith in Sam Darnold, and I really like what I've seen out of Seattle here so far. And don't worry, Bob. I won't bring up Caleb Williams. I'm going to let you have a peaceful drive. But give me Sam Darnold this week. I think he's going to be a great option in Superflex leagues. And if you are kind of needy in one quarterback leagues, I'm going to plug him in there as well, and I'm going to feel good about that. So, yes, Sam Darnold. I have him going at about 23 points this week. I feel really good. I think we're going to see a great, great performance, and we'll see what happens. And we got a first question in here coming from Chris. And he asks, happy Saturday night, guys. Happy Saturday night, Chris.
Happy Saturday, Chris.
Jaden Higgins, Michael Wilson, or Calvin Austin for the flex. So here you go, Tasheri. You got 3 options. Jaden Higgins, Michael Wilson, or Calvin Austin. If you had to play one of them guys in your flex for Chris, who are you looking at here?
I think I'm leaning Calvin Austin this week. I think this is going to be one of those matchups that the Steelers are going to have to keep up in points. We know the Colts, they're averaging at least 30 points per game. They're one of the highest scoring offenses in the NFL right now, and they're staying hot. And I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have to do that through the air in that pass attack. And I think the Calvin Austin will have a premier out of these 2 other guys, the premier ideal scoring for the flex spot, what you need. I think he can get anywhere between 8 to 12 points, and that's more of like the floor for him. And he might get some volume too if the shadow happens on DK and they can't get open with him. And I don't see Freiermuth or any of those tight ends sneaking one by the Colts. They're pretty smart and play the tight ends real well in that defense there. So I think the speedster deep threat of Calvin Austin, kind of like on the other side of the ball, Alec Pierce, I think he can pop the defense there once or twice this game. And he might not score a touchdown, but one of those 60-yard, 50-yard bombs could do a big chunk in his production, which could give you that nice little floor in your flex if you need a safer pick. I mean, the spicier pick would be Jaden Higgins, but this week I think I want to play a little bit safe in my flex spot, so I lean Calvin Austin.
Okay, and let me just say this. I can't blame you for that. And I think you road mapped it very well, saying like the big player, nothing. Like I liked how you kind of went that route with him. And, I can't argue with your thesis on that, but I will say I'm a Steelers fan. So I can tell you a lot about this team. Roman Wilson started coming on last game. Slowly but surely, he caught a few passes. So he might be slowly cutting into this work. Now, I'm not going to say for sure, but this offense has been so up and down for the Steelers. It's almost too tight end friendly. That's what worries me as well. Like we've seen what that one game, all the tight ends had a touchdown. So if it was my choice is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to go Michael Wilson here. And there's one reason and one reason why.
Interesting.
Because Jacoby Brissett is starting for the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yeah, if you go back the last 2 games, he's had his best 2 games of the season with Jacoby Brissett under center. We've talked about this. Bob's talked about it immensely. I know we've talked about it on this show, other shows. Kyler Murray, it's definitely a concern. I mean, you look at some of these numbers, some of these weapons, some of these guys are putting up more viable fantasy stats with Jacoby Brissett under center, and they are also playing the most popular dysfunctional team, Bob calls them, the Dallas Cowboys this week. And we see it's like Christmas every morning for fantasy assets playing the Dallas Cowboys. So, Chris, I'm going to go with Michael Wilson here. That's who I'm going to roll with. I think that if I had to make a choice, that's probably the best one in my mind, but it's very tough. It's a very tough decision.
I know, like I did not know the Kyler Murray that news, so I like that one more. I lean more that side than too because I like Jacoby Brissett's huck it, chuck it mentality, and I think that this Dallas D is spongy and he can soak up a lot of targets and maybe sneakily find his way in the end zone. So I don't mind that one at all, TJ. I like that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Bob says solid point. Thank you, Bob. And honestly, I'm glad that, I got to share to lean my way on that too. I don't think Calvin would also be my second choice.
Yeah.
It definitely would be. But I think just given them factors with what's out there, I'm going to go with Michael Wilson. So Michael Wilson for me, Chris, as we wait more questions coming in, I'm going to come over here to you to share. Let's talk some running backs. Running back start you have here for week 9. Who's it going to be?
Mine's going to be Josh Jacobs against these Carolina Panthers. He's playing at home. I know they did the Jordan Love showcase against the Rodgers game, and I think it's going to cool off a little bit there. They won't need to necessarily throw the ball a whole heck of a lot against these Carolina Panthers because I think they're smart enough to know that the Carolina Panthers play the wide receivers smart and they play the quarterbacks tough on the other side of the ball. So it'll be tough sledding a little bit. Of a lower ceiling game for Jordan Love and those receiving options. I still think Tucker Kraft has a good game, but lower your expectations from that game from previous week from against the Steelers. I think they'll lean at home on the run game with Josh Jacobs. I think he falls in the end zone at least once. I gotta reckon to guess he could get out of all these running backs on my list that could have a multi-touchdown game. I think it's most likely going to be Josh Jacobs, but that safety, that insurance of at least a solid one touchdown lends me to believe that he's going to be in the realm of like 22 to 26 points as his ceiling and probably a floor of 16 to 18. So I think average that. I think he'll have a 20-point game solidly that you can count on and bank on in your running back one spot, which isn't exciting, but it's also not terrible. I think it's a good, solid, concrete, foundational start to have at your running back one spot with Jacobs, and he's the engine that runs that offense there, and he's what gets them to go. And I think that as long as the Carolina Panthers defense stays on the field and the Packers keep peppering away with them and splashing a little Emmanuel Wilson in there to chip away at them, I think one big chunk play is going to be the nail in the coffin for these Panthers, and Josh Jacobs could easily bust a 60-yard run to take it to the house, and it's going to be lights out. Good night, Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I like the call out there to share. How many points you have won this week?
I'm going to go 20. The ceiling 20, I think said 24, and then the floor of 18. So I think he goes a little bit higher than this floor, but not as quite as high as his ceiling.
Okay, so I like the call. Like I said, I do appreciate that. We'll keep it moving. We'll come over here to me. We're going to go to my running back start here this week. And it's been a guy I've been excited to talk about. I haven't been able to talk about him much. I blame the team. I blame the culture for this more than anything. But, we're slowly coming back, baby. And it's going to be Chase Brown this week going up against Chicago. Now, let me just say this. Joe Flacco, and I've said this in a couple places, like I was high on Chase Brown. But my big thing was Joe Burrow has to be healthy. Like if he's healthy, I really feel good about him producing and playing well throughout the season. I thought the touchdowns would be there, the points would be there, but alas, it didn't happen. Joe Burrow went down. We got a large dose of Jake Browning, and it was just like taking a large dose of dog crap and eating it. It was really bad for Cincinnati, but Cleveland, being Cleveland, gave them life and helped them out and traded them Joe Flacco. And it's really worked out. It really worked out mainly for Chase Brown because now he can get these balls to these weapons a little bit, such as T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. And when that happens, that just doesn't make teams stack 8 guys, 9 guys in the box. Right now, they have to respect the outside, respect the throwing ability of this offense a little bit, and that benefits Chase Brown. Also, like the fact that the little dump downs, too, that we're going to see from Flacco to Chase Brown is going to be there. And the Bears have allowed the 4th most yards before contact per attempt. So, I mean, he should have some room to run in this game, Chase Brown, and the dump downs are there. The Bears is a very good matchup for running backs. And look, man, I think it's going to be a Chase Brown appearance once again. I think he's going to be back from the dead. And what do you think about Chase Brown here this week, Teixeira? I got him going about 18 points.
Hell yes. I got him for 22. I'm a little bit higher on him. He's going to be my ambassador of the glacial melting. He'll have a flamethrower in his hands as he's running that ball against that Bears defense and blowing through him with that heat. I think that Chase Brown's going to be the beneficiary piece in that offense. I don't think it's going to be a high Chase game or a Higgins game or Yoshi Voss or even a Noah Font. I think this is going to be check down city for Flacco, chip away at this iceberg of the Chicago Bears defense, and I think they're going to kill him through 1,000 cuts, and Chase Brown's going to get fed either if he's going to get those short yardage game between the tackles or those dump offs from Flacco. I really like him this week. I really think that this is going to be doubled up on what he was able to do last week against a poor Jets match or a good Jets matchup for him for running backs, and he's going to do it again with the Bears this week. And I'll be a happy little man because the Bears will be demised by our Chase Brown.
Yeah, and you look at it, right? Last thing I want to say about Chase Brown before we answer some more questions here. Chase Brown is going to have a lot more favorable schedule, too, coming back up in the second half. You look at the first half of his schedule, it looked like a complete stoplight Like you catch 4 stop or you catch 4 red lights on Main Street. That's kind of how it was for Chase Brown, right? Now it's going to be turning more green. The offense is getting better. This guy could be really good down the stretch. Don't sleep on Chase Brown down the stretch. I really like him in this game as well. We have a question coming in right now from Bert Tunser. We have flex Brashard Smith or Chamir DK. So this is an interesting one. You can flex a rookie player, a rookie running back, and Brashard Smith to Shara, or Chamir DK, the rookie wide receiver from Tennessee. If you had to flex one of them players right now, who are you looking at? Who do you think makes more sense to you?
For me, just looking at this, it's going to be Brashard Smith on the context of this Bills-Chiefs game is going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to hit the over, and I want all the pieces in this matchup as far as fantasy relevance-wise. I feel like he'll spell Kareem Hunt enough in the backfield. He'll have his drives. He'll play that Jerick McKinnon role, and I just love the potential of just a big play from Brashard Smith on any given down, given his talent and ability, and being attached to the better quarterback here in this between these two's matchup. I just have more confidence in Patrick Mahomes handing it off to him and finding him out of the backfield for wheel route, plant, dart plays. Where with Cam Ward and DK, I script plays in their favor. Probably going to be in a negative script going up against the Chargers and playing from behind, so they're going to have to throw a lot more. But I think you're more banking on DK falling into the end zone somehow and just getting in some garbage time points, which they still count. They still do. But I don't want to rely on that in my flex. It's just like, oh, I just need this guy to just hit one good play. I want to have the safer option and then the volume play. I think that Brashard Smith is going to be able to touch the ball a lot more this week than DK will. I think that Brashard Smith is going to be the X factor in that Chiefs-Bills matchup, and he could have a higher ceiling than DK. I'm comfortably starting Brashard over DK this week.
So let me say this one here is kind of intriguing to me because I think it's a lot closer. And, I agree with what you said about, him touching the ball more. And look, I think I'm going to lean Brashard Smith here. Now, let me just say this about Brashard Smith. I'm going to say this right now, and this is just for everyone listening, just for their own benefit. I need to see something this week. You know what I mean? I need to see a little bit of flash, a little bit of pop, because we haven't seen the snap share. I think everyone's saying, oh, well, that's the problem. That's the problem. And it very well could be the problem. Right now against Vegas, we've seen a little something, but that game was a blowout. He got more opportunity against a bad team. We'll see where it goes. I mean, this is a good football team, Buffalo, but it is a good matchup. So the matchup's favorable. The snap share should go up. But yes, I do think that just on that logic, him touching the ball more, getting more opportunities, I think I got to go that route as well. At least gamble that way. Now, let's hope he does get the opportunities. He definitely should. And I think that's where I'm going to lean because, like you said, I think the only thing with DK is there could be a lot of garbage time points there, maybe. But I'm like you. I mean, you can't bank on that. We don't know how every game's going to turn out. The Chargers are lackluster sometimes. They should kill the Titans, but they're lackluster. I mean, they should kill them, but sometimes they let teams hang around too. So the garbage time points might not be there as much as people think they are. They should be there, but it's not a guarantee. So give me Brashard Smith. And then he also asks, start Bo Nix or Jacoby Brissett. So there you go. We talked about Jacoby Brissett at the opening of the show to Shara. What do you think? Would you start Bo Nix or would you start Jacoby Brissett this week over Bo Nix? Because we talked about this Houston Texans team killing quarterbacks, right? What do you think?
The proof is in the pudding, and the evidence is all there. I think I'm leading with caution and trotting out Bo Nix. In a lot of matchups, I have to. Like in one quarterback leagues, he's my guy. And in super flex leagues, he has no better options. But that doesn't mean that's what I want to do. You've talked me into Jacoby Brissett earlier with your argument with Michael Wilson. If he can get Michael Wilson going, imagine the ceiling of a game he can get Trey McBride to get. Maybe a Marvin Harrison Jr. splash player too. And I really like with the evidence of Houston's defense being stingy and really hard and sticky to those wide receivers for quarterbacks to have bigger games or bigger ceiling games. I think that Brissett can easily expose this Dallas defense. And if I'm looking for a Monday night, if I'm projected to win in my matchup going into this weekend and I'm feeling comfortable about the rest of my roster, I'll roll the dice on the Cardinals quarterback against this Dallas defense because I just know from what I've seen from these first 8 weeks, the Houston secondary is for real and needs to be taken seriously and tread lightly with your expectations of your quarterback starting against them. And with Dallas, D, it's green light matchup. You start your quarterbacks against them. We watched what Bo Nix did to him last week. And not to say that Bo Nix is some sort of superstar, but he ain't no scrub either. And if Jacoby Brissett can find his way somewhere between those two things, I think he'll be just fine.
Okay, so yeah, I'm going to go with Jacoby Brissett here. I like Bo Nix, but yes, we're talking about polar opposite shifts. We're talking about North Pole, South Pole type of stuff. We're talking Bo Nix going up against this vaunted Houston Texans secondary, and it ain't a joke. Like, I mean, as bad as Houston's offense has been, I think people think it's a joke sometimes going up against their defense, and it's absolutely not. Jacoby Brissett's going to have this matchup going up against the Dallas Cowboys, ranked 32nd in the league. I mean, right now against quarterback play. I mean, they're just getting absolutely feasted on. And you look at it. I mean, Jacoby Brissett, the last 2 weeks, he's played the Indianapolis Colts. He's played the Green Bay Packers, two very good, respectable teams this year. And he was a quarterback one both times. So if he could do it against them teams, I have to play him against Dallas here, Burke. I got to play him against Dallas. So give me Jacoby Brissett here. I think that I'm going to lean on the matchup, the fact that he showed us a lot. And one other thing about Jacoby Brissett, he ain't chump change. He's been around the league He's been around the league a long time. Like, he is a good bridge, fill-in, backup type of guy. If you have him on your team, your favorite team as a backup quarterback, I would feel good about him, coming in and trying to steady the ship. And I think he's going to have a good week this week. I can see another 1-12 type quarterback performance, and that's as reliable.
Ooh, I like it.
Yes, yeah, I could see 7-8 easily this week, as bad as this Dallas Cowboys defense is. So, very good question. We appreciate it. Now we have our good friend Fighting Solves Everything. I love the name. I always say that. Glad to have you with us this week. He needs one for the flex this week, Teixeira. He's got a few options here. He's got Cortland Sutton. He's got T. Higgins, Woody Marks, or Travion Henderson. If you had to play one of them guys in the flex, who's it going to be for you?
I don't want to hear the buzzer, but here it comes. Travion Henderson, please, Mike Vrabel, for the love of all things holy, unleash this man upon the wrath of the NFL. Just let him cook against this Atlanta Falcons defense. I want to see the upside with him working with Drake May on an every drive situation. We know that Ramondre Stevenson is out. He is done. He is out of the way. I don't know what other fumbling running back they got back there, but just keep him on the bench and just let us see what this rookie has got. This is his game to prove to us what he's capable of and what Drake May is able to get out of him. I think the matchup against the Falcons, as though it is vaunted because the Falcons' rush defense is a little bit sticky, it's hard to get across, but they're not exactly invincible. They can't not be beaten. We saw McCaffrey do it to him 2 weeks ago. It's possible to get splash big plays, and that's what Travion Henderson's recipe in his cookbook is, the big splash plays. We've seen him be able to bust big runs out and be able to take things to the house, and I think he does that at least once this week if he gets that volume and that workload. I mean, if this is a full point PPR, though, I think I'm pivoting either T. Higgins way or Sutton, but if this is like standard to a half point, I'm going to lean on taking the swing this week unorthodoxly, where I want to play my flexes, on Travion Henderson, because I'm that much of a believer in his talent, his ability, and this ascending New England offense. I want pieces in it. I want to be a part of it. And this is the prime opportunity to just be able to, I'm more comfortable starting Henderson and getting 8 points than benching Henderson for 23 to 30 points. And that's where I play it in my mind. Like, I feel like the Higgins and Sutton, they can get you about 12 to 18 points. It's a solid flex play nonetheless. But like, I feel that Henderson's that swing that it could be the difference maker in your matchup, going either one way or the other.
Yeah, I'm going to go Travion Henderson here too. I feel like I have to, right? Like, I mean, this is the opportunity. This is why we drafted him. I mean, if you've got to have a chance to see something that's in a game like this, and playing the Atlanta Falcons, we've seen Devon Achane just do an absolute demolition job.
Yes.
So, I mean, look, we want to see, Travion Henderson kind of be that same guy, that pass catching, fast speed bounce it to the outside. If he has success, Travion Henderson is the guy we hope he is. He should have success as well. And, I agree. I just think that, to me, there's the safest floor there. It should be the safest floor. I mean, Cortland Sutton's going up against the Texans. We've said it. They've been killing pass catchers and quarterbacks. I just don't feel good about that. T. Higgins, it can be hit or miss. I think that the run game for the Bengals, little dump off of Jamar Chase, is going to be a little more prevalent there. Woody Marks is not in a good matchup either. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Henderson there as well. And he also says, I was thinking Henderson, appreciate the confirmation. If we go down fighting. 100%, man. I love the attitude.
Hell yeah.
And I think you're going to make the right move. I really do. We got to see something this week, and there's really no one there in the way of stopping Henderson. I just don't see it happening. So,
and TJ, would you preface to the fantasy managers out there to buy him now before the game tomorrow if you can? Because if he does go off, he gets infinitely more expensive, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's just what we see with a lot of these rookies. And whenever you get the blow up, it's always going to cost more. I still believe in the talent of Travion Henderson. At worst, I think maybe you're going to get a DeAndre Swiftish type player. I think that's worst. I think that's the worst thing that's going to happen. I think the best thing that happens, you're going to get, one of these Devon A. Chaney type guys. I think that's the best case scenario. So we'll see kind of which way it goes, but I don't think that there's, a super far terrible player or a super, super amazing player. I just think it's going to be one of them two. But it's going to be interesting with Henderson. I love him, and I agree. I think now's a good time to buy. If you do like the player, I'm okay, and I'm in on that. But, we wait, more questions coming in here. Let's go back to some wide receiver starts here, Teixeira. Wide receiver start here for week 9. Who are you pulling out of your last night's trick-or-treat bag?
I am pulling up Jackson Smith and Jigba. I'm going pairing him with your star of the week with Sam Darnold. I think against this Commanders defense, look, we watched what Rashee Rice was able to do against this Commanders defense on primetime, and that gets me all giddy inside. And I think that Jackson Smith and Jigba is getting to be in that same tier, if not higher than Rashee Rice, with his volume and his confidence and his rapport with Sam Darnold and just the hyper targeting. It's just, he's the rock steady dude in your lineup at your wide receiver 1 spot. He's consistently, I don't know exactly where he's in rankings between standard and full PPR, but he's got to be in the top 3, right? He's just one of those guys that you just need to rock with. And in prime time, again, against this Commanders defense. Now, I know they're on the road. They're playing in Washington, traveling across country, but that don't bother me none. They're coming off a bye week. They had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. They're going to be locked in and ready. Jaden Daniels is going to give them their best shot and come swinging, and I think that Sam Darnold and Jackson Smith and Jigba are going to have the best counterpunch for them. Because, look, in Seattle, you can't rely on that running game unless if you're in the green area, you're in goal-to-go situations, and they just punch in those short yardage games. That running game is a mess, and it's falling more on that Sam Darnold shoulders to get the job done. And Jackson Smith and Jigba is just doing his best Amon-Ra St. Brown, his best Rashee Rice impression, and running with it and just taking his game to a whole nother ceiling. And I really like this matchup this week against that secondary. And I love the ceiling. I think he could hit a 30-point. If the players in my start, this is the one that I'm putting the stamp on, that the ceiling is 30 points and his floor is 24. I think it's going to be a really great game for JSN.
Yeah, and you look at it, and we've talked about this. We did the Dynasty Dog show with Mike and Wiz, and he brought up JSN and asked me, how big of a believer. I think he's a top 5 Dynasty receiving asset hands down. I mean, it's to that point. He's definitely top 5. As far as how high I'm going to put him, I don't know. But he's someone that you have to have in your lineup every week, I think. Even in a tough matchup, he's someone that's too tough for me to bench. But I do like it. I do like the play. And I'm all about that. I think that JSN's a guy you can start receiver flex anywhere if you're lucky enough to have him. I got to play him. We have Burke asking here, traded Charbonnet away from Pearsall. That was a good move in my opinion. I mean, look, I think you
Wiz would appreciate that.
Yeah, Wiz would be very happy. You got a lot more upside there in my opinion, Burke. And then he said, and last week traded Dwaddle, Danny Jones, and Wandale for Derrick Henry. I got scammed, ? I mean, no, not necessarily. I don't think you got scammed. It just depends.
No.
I mean, if it's super flex, yeah, that's going to be a little tougher. But if it's a 1 quarterback league, Berg, here, Derrick Henry, I'm going to tell you right now, great buy down the stretch. Great buy. Like, I think he's going to really get it going. Baltimore's got life again. They're going to win the division. I've said it. Like, I knew this was going to happen. I've been saying it was going to happen. I told you this 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yes, you did.
It's going to keep coming, and they're only going to get better. Their schedule gets lighter on the back end. So getting Derrick Henry, that was a good move. I think you're going to be okay there, especially if it was a one-quarterback league there with Daniel Jones. And we have Gavin chiming in here on Twitter. Buy low on Mac Jones. He's a starter next year somewhere. Yeah, we talked about it.
Hey, I love that sentiment. I love it.
Yeah, we talked about this. We see it like, and I give Bob credit as far as the term of retread quarterback. We've seen a lot of that, right? We've seen a ton of that. Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, Baker was a retread. I mean, like, these guys are getting more prevalent, more promise, and we know he's getting the tutelage of Kyle Shanahan. That's huge for him.
Where would you like to see him go?
I mean, look, there's a lot of quarterback needy teams out there. Like, oh yeah, I would, but we would ruin them though. That's the thing. Like, it would only get worse. But like, I don't know. Like, could he go? Like, if Miami gets a fresh start, maybe that would be decent, right somewhere like that.
He's familiar with Florida.
Yeah, and they get the right kind of coaching in there. I know that Arizona, if something happened, they moved on from Kyler.
That's my
Murray.
top spot. I think this is going to be, if Jacoby keeps playing well and Kyler's in this, I can see the Cardinals moving off of Kyler this offseason.
I think if I'm the Cardinals, I want to move off of him, right? Like, I think that would be a wise move. Like, I just think it would definitely be better. And Gavin also says here, Jones could make playoffs in a season. I agree. That's another great spot there.
Damn.
Another nice sneaky landing spot. So, yes, go low on Mac Jones. I've said that, especially in a lot of opportunities as far as, like throw-ins and trades. I think that's really good for Mac Jones. Like, I don't want to super overpay, but like, yes, even like when he goes back to the bench, let's say if Brock Purdy does come back in a galaxy far, far away right now.
Yeah.
If he does come back, then you go ahead and buy Mac Jones whenever he goes to the bench again, cheap. If you believe in him, you could probably get him for a third at that point. I'm willing to gamble.
A couple hypotheticals for you. Would you tear down from like a JJ McCarthy or a Michael Penix to a Mac Jones plus?
Oh yeah. Like if I could get a first of Mac Jones, absolutely.
Ooh.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that could be possible, especially a team needing quarterback help. That's a good thought to share. Like, I would definitely be willing to do that if I could make it happen, right? I mean, even like Bryce Young, like, could you do something?
One of these quarterbacks are frustrated, and the younger ones, they're not, living up to hype.
They don't have that ceiling, they don't have that ceiling. So, but as we await more questions coming in, Bob says Arizona as well for Mac Jones. I know he really likes that.
High five, Bob. We're on the same page.
So before we get into it, we got more questions that might be coming in. We'll be answering them as we go. But my wide receiver start, I'm going back to like, there's so many of my guys that are playing well this year. Like, I have so much to celebrate about, but there's a couple of them. There's a couple of them that are struggling, and it's okay because I predicted some of this. I'm going to go for my wide receiver start, and this is for you, Big Culture. I'm going to go BTJ, Brian Thomas Jr., going up against Bob's Oakland Raiders this week is where I'm going to go. So, yes, I think it's going to be a really feast day for some of these Jacksonville-type weapons. The Raiders just look atrocious. So I know Bob likes to give it to them in the Culture Shock on the Dynasty DNA Deep Dive. And he's absolutely right. It's been really bad, but they have been struggling big time against wide receivers, yielding fourth most points in fantasy points per game to receivers, really just struggling against everyone, right? Everyone. So, and I just don't see the Raiders having the ball super long time. They never do. This is going to give more opportunity for a team like Jacksonville with some of these weapons to hit some big plays. I think that if you've been a little bit disappointed, let down by Brian Thomas this year, I think this is a turnaround time. I'm going to say he has a 20-point game this week going up against the Raiders. I have a really good feeling about it. How do you feel about Brian Thomas here to share before we answer some more questions?
I love it. I love it. I love it. He is one of my perennial. As soon as I heard the news about Travis Hunter, I was just trying to buy as that value as I could on him. I'm still a believer in Brian Thomas Jr. I know he's on your jacket. I've been a believer as well. I think this is going to be his shut up the haters game where he's going to ball out with Trevor Lawrence, hopefully. And I just like the next 4 games at least and rest of season. If Travis Hunter's out of the picture, T-Law just needs to pull his head out where and just get it to your alpha. He isn't out. Like, he is what you want at the wide receiver 1 spot, and just feed him and take advantage of this poor Raiders secondary, this dismal dumpster fire secondary. And I know they're in Las Vegas. There's no weather issue. Huck and chuck that football. Get it to our guy, Brian Thomas Jr., and he'll definitely be a star of the week. I'm in full agreement and lockstep with you, TJ, there. I like that pick a lot.
Bombs away. Let's do with the Raiders what they like to try to do to other teams, but they can never do. Hit the big bombs, Jacksonville. Go for it. Go downfield to my guy. But okay, quickly, we got more questions coming in. We want to get to everybody. Don't worry. If you're on the list, we're going to get to you. We'll get to everyone. We'll answer every question.
Everyone.
Fighting solves everything asks. Herbert Love, CMC, JT, Quinshon Judkins, Woody Marks, David Montgomery, Travion Henderson, Puka Nacua, Ted McMillan, Cortland Sutton. I'm going to guess T or Jaden Higgins. Either one I like. Tyler Warren, Brock Bowers. And, 10 team. I'm soon to be 8-1. What possible moves should I just sit still? Like, honestly, here's the thing, Fighting. You got such a good team. Yeah. I would just to be patient. But if there's a good trade that makes sense, I'm always open to that, right? Like if something comes along where you can get a player, for X, I'm willing to listen and talk about it. But like right now, your team's so good, I don't think I'm in a big rush to do anything to try to screw that up. But if there is a good trade or maybe like a good depth piece you can add, I have no problem with that. I always say like depth running backs, if this is a dynasty league, like if I want to add a depth running back for a second or a third round pick, I don't mind doing that, right? But like outside of that, if that's redraft, like I'm just sitting there on my hands and waiting to collect the money. I'm waiting to collect the money because your team's really good. And it should win it all in a redraft for sure. So let's go ahead and go over here now to Burke. He's asking another question. One more question. Should I try to sell away Saquon by any means? He's really been hit or miss for me, and I could trade him for a QB upgrade, for example, for Bucky Irving and Drake May. Well, here's the thing. Like, if you need a quarterback, and I'm guessing that this is a redraft league, right? I'm almost sure that's probably what it is for Burke here. If it's redraft, absolutely, I have no problem with that. Even Dynasty, I'm smashing that in Dynasty. But like redraft,
you better believe it.
Redraft, even I'm taking that if I need quarterback upgrade because I talked about Drake May. I'm a believer in the Patriots offense. I like him, and I do think that there is going to be a good schedule for him down the stretch. We'd see like a lot of green light matchups for Drake May. So yes, I think that makes a ton of sense, Burke. If you need a quarterback, do you agree, Teixeira?
Absolutely. I'm trying to move off of Saquon where I got him myself in redraft because I feel like his performances, like he's alluded to, have been too spotty for me to rely on. I need help at quarterback. If I want to make that championship run, I'd be more comfortable trotting out Drake May and Bucky Irving in my lineup than Saquon Barkley. I feel I have a stronger, better shot in redraft. In Dynasty, I'm still feeling that way too. If I can get Drake May and Bucky Irving, I think I'll take the youth and I'll take the potential for a seal. Shed that Saquon from my roster, and it's going to sting a little bit, I know, but it's going to be worth it.
Yeah, I have to agree there. So that is definitely a good option in my opinion. Now we got Fantasy Sports Zone asking, does Breece Hall or Tony Pollard get traded? Now, let me just say this. I do think that we're going to see some moves here soon as far as some offensive weaponry. As far as what goes on, I think that if I was a betting man, I think the fact that Tony Pollard probably going to get traded, I would place higher odds on that. Like if someone's looking to add a running back, it'll be cheaper. And I just don't see I know the Jets are asking a third round pick for him, meaning Breece Hall. That's kind of a lot to an NFL team for a running back that's a little bit older. Now, like there is some teams that ain't going to mind to maybe try to go in and all win it. And maybe the Jets lower the price and that happens. But, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Bob that said, look, the Jets just won a game. Maybe they're just going to be a little bit like, okay, we won a game. Let's see what we have. And, I don't think Breece Hall's just absolutely like, I want out. If he would, it would help matters. But he's just not that kind of guy. But I just think with the age, the contract situation, what you'd have to pay to get him to add a depth running back for an NFL team, I think Tony Pollard getting traded makes a little more sense to me. Like if someone's looking to add one. But we all would love to see the big Breece Hall splash because it could really elevate his value. So I don't know, Teixeira, do you think they both get traded? Do you think one of them get traded? Where are you at on that?
I think without teams in mind, I think at the moment one of them will get traded by the deadline. I think one of them will be moved. However, if another significant injury or two happens in the NFL somewhere at the running back position, I could very well see the likelihood of above like a 60-40, maybe 70-30 percentage of that they both get moved before the deadline. I think that the teams pursuing them are playing hardball, trying to get the most, affordable price possible and trying to play that game of like, well, if something happens, I want to just have that leeway. But I think this is going to go all the way up until the deadline. And I think when it's all said and done, at least one of them gets moved. I'd hope both of them do for the sake of them and their careers. I really like both running backs a lot. But like you premised everything there, it's all about, draft capital and what people are willing to spend on a running back, regardless of where they're at in their careers, what age they are. Their injury risk is high, so the draft capital is more valuable to teams more than a running back in most cases.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we have a start sit coming in from Jason here.
Okay.
He asks, start one running back, Kamara, Rico, already starting Tet McMillan, and he has Manungai. So he has three options there. He's got Alvin Kamara, Rico Dwaddle, which he's already starting Tet McMillan, or Kyle Manungai. Who are you going with out of them three options to share for a running back start? I think I know.
Fire up my boy Kyle Manungai. I would start him. You already got Ted as your wide receiver. You don't want to cap your fantasy performances by having two players of the same team at a different position. Yeah, it's nice because you could have the steady floor of Rico Dowdle. He's been named the starter. He's going up against that Green Bay defense, guys. And if there's one thing I know, it's the NFC North, and that Green Bay running back, that run defense is stout. It is sturdy, and it is hard to break through. It'll be tough sledding. Rico will get the volume for sure, but it'll be trying to like do body blow, and hope that he gets into the end zone, where on the other side of the ball, a lot easier matchup and has the full workload in the backfield, and on an offense that's just as efficient as the Carolina Panthers, and that's the Bears, with Kyle Manungai. I mean, I want to see it from him. He's like Travion Henderson. I want to see what we got out of him, what he can do, and with the full workload, and with Swift out of the picture. And I think if Caleb Williams begins to struggle in this game or have a hard time getting the ball down the field through the air, or they get in close and just can't seal the deal with a Colson Loveland touchdown or a DJ, like I can see him pounding it in between the tackles and getting in the end zone himself. I really like the prospect of a Kyle Manungai over a Rico Dowdle, and that's spicy. That's a hot take, but I play into that premise as more of the matchups of who they're playing against, and that's why I'm going to lean with the taking the swing on the rookie versus going with the expensive pair of socks and Rico Dowdle.
Yeah, and I have to agree. I mean, Kamara's questionable as well, and he's got a terrible matchup.
Oh, he is? Okay, I didn't. He was completely out for me because that Saints offense is anemic, and I just don't like the matchup against the Rams and LA. And
yeah, that's just it. But like he is, even the fact that the matchup isn't good, he is hurt also on top of that. So I just don't, he's out of my mind. It's been terrible for him. Rico Dwaddle, I think I agree with everything you mentioned. I love Rico, but this game could get away from Carolina pretty easily, right? I mean, like, I definitely think it could. And if that happens and he gets written right out of the game script for the most part, and I do love the matchup for Manungai going up against the Bengals. I think it's a great matchup. DeAndre Swift is out. He's going to get the lion's share of the work. And what are they, 32nd against running backs? I mean, they are getting killed.
30, yeah. They're in the back. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like dead last against running backs. And I could see a 1-yard touchdown plunge very easily, so he has two flex. The other two running backs are Khalil Shakir or Wan'Dale Robinson. So he wants to play two in the flex as well. So we gave him the running back option and Kyle Manungai. Now, you could flex Rico Dwaddle, Alvin Kamara, Khalil Shakir, Wan'Dale Robinson. He needs two spots. Who are you going to take there, Teixeira? Just what are you thinking? Where are you going to go with as far as two flexes?
Yeah, I'll keep it brief and premise. I'm going to go with Shakir as my first one just because of the whole strategy of you want points in this game, you want playmakers in this game, and I think that Shakir can have a higher performance game with Josh Allen rely on him in more critical game decisions, and I can see him getting into the end zone. Same with Wan'Dale Robinson. Scatterbo is out, Malik Neighbors is out. Jackson Dart's going to need somebody to throw the ball to and be a field stretcher and a chain mover. And I think that he'll have himself a high volume game, not necessarily maybe getting in the end zone, but I can see 7+ receptions for Wan'Dale Robinson. and with Shakir probably 4+ reception. I don't know if they both hit the century mark, but their pay dirt is more likely against the 49ers and Wandale and the Chiefs and with Buffalo. Especially if this is full PPR, I want to lean the wide receivers, those running backs.
Yeah, I agree with you. Give me Shakir and Wandale Robinson in the flex as well. So that one for Jason, we have Monungai at the running back spot. We have Shakir and Wandale Robinson in the flex. We got another one here from him asking start one this week and or Zach Ertz, Noah Fant, Theo Johnson. He's got Jackson Dart, TJ Hawkinson, Dalton Schultz, Evan Ingram. So you got to start one of them guys this week. Who are you going to go with here?
I know might be a little bit of a hot take because we've seen flashes and like a spark. I'm gonna go with I like my stacks. I like my double stacks from Wendy's. I like my burgers. And in fantasy, I like to stack my quarterback with one of the other receiving options to try to double up on points. I know it's a riskier strategy, but I have fun with it. I enjoy it, and it tends to work out with me where I hit on them. So I'm gonna go Theo on this one because I think the dependency on volume with him outside of Wandale Robinson, that Dart's going to need him in the short yardage games and goal-to-go situations. And I think he's got a knack for fighting. Like the bigger games he's had this year, if I remember right, he's busted off like 10, 20-yard receptions. Like he has that ability to stretch the field out quite a bit. And I like him now getting the opportunity to grow and develop with Dart consistently, being able to be looked at more in this offense where I'm fading Ingram in that Denver offense. I'm fading Hawkinson. Fant is just too consistent, and there's other better receptions in that Bengal offense. And then Ertz, I mean, it's juicy, but I also he's goosed this year, and I started him in that time he goosed, and it's kind of it's burned me, so I still have the wounds from that. So I'm gonna just risk it on the younger guy here than on Ertz.
Okay, so I'm gonna play Ertz this week. I am. I like. Do you think that? I mean, he's just a guy that it's hard to take out of your lineup. He always seems to do work for you. He always seems to find a way whenever you least expect it. It is a good matchup. I think if they're going to do anything, I think that he could be a touchdown scorer this week. I think there's a probability of that. So we have start one, Alvin Kamara, Rico Dwaddle, Jalen Warren, DJ Moore. So if you had to start one out of that group there, Teixeira, who are you looking at? And we'll try to go quickly so we can keep going through the questions here. Who are you looking at?
Yeah, I'm going to go Jalen Warren out of this one. I think volume and opportunity and just the pass catching work from Aaron Rodgers out of the backfield. He's got no challenge amongst, Caleb Johnson and Kenneth Gainwell seemed to be fading these last couple of weeks after his big performance. So like we alluded to with Kamara and Rico, what we like and we don't like there. And then DJ Moore, I'm too high on the Monangai bandwagon to spread out any of that fantasy performance his way. I think it's a Dunze that does well there. Maybe some Colson Loveland splashes or, sightings. But, yeah, I think I'll just go with Jalen Warren just because I like what I saw with him in the Bengals game. And last week against the Packers, he played respectably well. It wasn't fantastic, but he was on the field for a majority of snaps, and that's what I like to see.
Yeah, I agree. The work there, the volume there, it's all there. Two hit or miss. I mean, I really like DJ Moore, but I just cannot I cannot play him in a game like this where we've seen him be two hit or miss. So give me Jalen Warren. So he's got start one tight end this week and or ROS. Henry, Jawan Johnson, Noah Fant, Ertz, or Theo. So kind of the same similar type situation there. Does Hunter Henry sway you at all?
Yep, the quarterback attached to him. Like, I know Ertz is doing well, like you alluded to, and he's got Jaden Daniels, but he's coming off and battling his own thing. I like Drake May, and I like his rapport and his connection with Hunter Henry. I think this week it's a great matchup against the Atlanta Falcons and rest of season, like we talked about earlier with Travion Henderson and Drake May. There's a lot of green in those matchups, and I think that he can take advantage of it and be a steady Eddie spot at the tight end position, finishing consistently top 7.
You know what's scary, though? Atlanta number 1 against tight ends.
Really? Okay.
I did not know. You wouldn't have thought that, but I
know, never.
So, I mean, honestly, just given the fact, I think I would just stick with Ertz there, Jason. But, I mean, but I don't mind playing. Hunter Henry's still been my second choice, even in a tough matchup. But I think I'll stick with Ertz. And then this one's his last one. He's got start 3. One must be wide receiver.
Okay.
Marvin Harrison, Cortland Sutton, Tyrone Tracy, Rico Dwaddle. So, okay, this is a little tougher. I mean, this isn't a good list. So if I had to start 3, I'm definitely starting Marvin Harrison at wide receiver, given the fact that what we talked about, receivers getting killed by Texans and Cortland Sutton. I'm going to start Tyrone Tracy, and I'm going to start Rico Dwaddle. I love Cortland Sutton. I just think that this week the matchup's too much for him, and it just isn't him. It's other teams that are getting killed there as well. So give me them guys on volume opportunity. Give me Marvin Harrison as just a better matchup, a better opportunity player this week. Do you agree?
Absolutely. You locked it down. You laid it out perfectly. I was going the same route as you.
On the same page. Me and Tashera got it going on. So we have Gavin asking here, Superflex, start 10. 3 wide receiver slots, 2 flex, Dart or BTJ. Okay, so we talked about that, right? So we have 3 wide receiver slots, 2 flex, Dart or BTJ in that last spot. I mean, look, I almost got to play the quarterback, right? I got to. I mean, I love Brian Thomas. It's been too hit or miss, but I think that I make that move. Yeah. So I think I'm going to. Yeah, I agree. So we have Burke asking here, redraft 1 quarterback. I was in Saquon for Jalen Warren straight up or too cheap. So it's redraft 1 quarterback. Now, I just Jalen Warren hasn't done enough, right?
Yeah.
For me to trade him 1 for 1. I would just hold on to Saquon Barkley there, Burke. I mean, the name value, the shock value, the things that he could do on the field. I mean, he could absolutely just go off at some point, and then you're going to regret doing that. Yeah, Kyle Pitts, yeah. Bob, Atlanta is so good against tight ends, they don't even let theirs score. You're right. I mean, they don't even let them score in practice. It's really bad, Bob. Maybe that's why. Like, they're used to not letting tight ends in the end zone because they never see it happen, and they're magically in first place. But, yeah, I mean, just going back to Bert's question here, I got to keep Saquon Barkley. I'm not giving him up for Jalen Warren in any format, redraft, whatever. Like Jalen Warren's like running back 20-something right now. And, you know, like there were some people in the chat were like, oh, Jalen Warren. It's like, what has he really done? I mean, like, I mean, he's okay. Yeah. He just isn't my cup of tea, you know. So I will go ahead and stick with Saquon. That is too cheap for me. So we have a new question coming in here. We have Aldo asking, start 1 running back and 1 flex. Half PPR. Now, keep this in mind, half PPR.
Okay. I love it, guys. Thanks for the context.
Yeah, Flacco is my quarterback this week. He's got Travion, Chase Brown, and Debo, so he's going to start 1 running back and 1 flex. Now, let me say this. I'm going to start Travion and Chase Brown this week. I don't know how you feel about that, but, like, I'm going to start both of them guys just based off of opportunity. I mean, just based off matchup. It's just too good for me to pass up. And look, I mean, I love Debo Samuel. He's done pretty well this year, but he could be a little hit or miss. And you look at it, the matchup's very tough against this Seattle Seahawks defense. So, yeah, I got to go with the running backs. I don't know if you feel any different, Tashera.
Hell yeah. Let's start our Chase Brown, Travion cooking. I like Debo Samuel, but I just don't see it happening this week. I think that Zach Ertz could have a higher ceiling, a better game than Debo Samuel, the pass catchers over there in Washington. So I like our running backs this week. I'd go that route.
Okay, so we have another question coming in here, and it's from Spartacus. He asked, is Sutton and Tetaroa enough for Rashee Rice? Okay, so, I mean, yes, look, if I get Rashee Rice, I'm making that move. He is, without a doubt, number 1 target with the Kansas City Chiefs. That's why I wish everyone just would have been with us through the offseason so much more, because we said, go get this guy, go get this guy. You know, we just had such faith and belief. As long as he stays out of trouble, he's great. That's just only you know, and I said it. Ty said it to me. He's like, why is it like you call out these players and you do a great job? He's like, but then they get in trouble. I'm like, okay, well, like I'm some kind of jinx or something like that, right? But
no, you're just an influencer. You like your guys, but you kind of nudge them in the direction of being little bad boys.
Oh, I stick up for him. That's all. I always stick up for him. So, but yeah, I would do that. I think that's a good move. Sutton could be too hit or miss. I I love Tet, and Sutton's
And
getting
both
old.
redraft and dynasty. I'm assuming this is a redraft question.
I would assume so, yes. And even if it was dynasty, I would still do the deal because Sutton's just getting a little bit older. 2 hit or
Yep.
miss for me. Tet, I like, but he's in a terrible situation. And Rice and him similar in age. I mean, if all I have to give up Sutton to get into Rice, on top of Tet, I'm doing that. So give me Rashee Rice. But as we await more questions coming in to share, that was a good amount. We're getting them all
I
in,
love
guys.
it, guys.
You can keep them coming. We always enjoy that. Let's go into the tight end starts. Tight end start for week 9. Who you going with?
I am going with Brock Bowers against these Jacksonville Jaguars. He's back, everybody. And he's going up against a defense that, yes, they've been legitimate so far and they've been playing well, but I think the talent, the ability of Brock Bowers usurps whatever this Jacksonville defense can use to oppose against him. I think he's going to be hyper targeted, hyper evolved in this offense. I think he's going to be relied upon to score the points, not Ashton Genty for those Raiders. And I think that they're going to be in that game script where they're going to have to throw the ball and be competitive. And you got to give it to your number one, talent in order to do that. And I think he has a ceiling game of 22 points and a floor of 14. I think coming back, I think it might not be the splashy 100 yards or so or whatever, but I think he can get in for like 6 for 60 and a couple touchdowns. And that's how he gets to his points this week, I feel.
Oh, starting the Bear this week. Or starting the Raider for Bob this week.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so I'm surprised. I know Bob still likes Brock Bowers, but we haven't heard him chime in. We still haven't heard him chime in about it yet. But yes, I like the play. I think that's a good move for sure. Let's go into my tight end start. Yeah, Bob, we know that Tyler Warren's going to kill this. We don't have to hear anymore. I told you, any tight end against the Steelers, any guy that's a slot guy, you might as well just kiss it goodbye. They always do work against us. Until we get rid of Mike Tomlin, it will always be that way. But we're going to go into my tight end start here. It is a guy that was disappointing last week. A lot of people really down in the dumps about that, right?
Oh, man.
So let me just say, I'm going to go with it right now. I got to go with my guy, Jake Ferguson from the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going back to the guy that absolutely broke the hearts of people last week.
Look, I got a bone to pick with that man, TJ.
It wasn't his fault. I blame the inconsistency of Dallas. And, it just seemed like whatever they tried, it wasn't working to get him the ball. Like, I don't know what kind of scheme they were working with, but the Arizona Cardinals, a very friendly matchup. And it's very easy to get upset when you get a 0 out of somebody. Like, I've been there, and like, it's okay. Like, you just want to turn against them and you're like, but like, I think that's just foolhardy. The Cardinals have given up the 6th most fantasy points per game, 2 tight ends. Very good matchup. You got a dueling matchup with Trey McBride and Jake Ferguson. I think he's going to want to show out. We know that Dak likes to try to get this guy the ball. So I do think that this is going to be a good move. I do like the play. And yes, give me Jake Ferguson here all day long. I like it. Good move. So tight ends are in. We got another question coming from Alex here. Start 2 PPR. T. Higgins, Wandale, Travion, or Rico Dwaddle. So you got to start 2 from a PPR perspective to share. Who are you going to go with out of that list? Couple good names there.
I think I'm going to go Wandale Robinson and Travion Henderson are the 2 PPR starts I will do. I feel more comfortable with their floor than Rico Dowdle and T. Higgins because, like we alluded to earlier, Chase Brown show against that Bears defense, and T. Higgins will be capped, and then I think Dowdle will be capped by Hubbard and just the inefficiencies of that Carolina offense. So I like the upside of Wandale and Henderson. I just got a good feeling about those 2.
Yeah, I do too. Them are the 2 I would pick for a lot of the same reasons. Let's go to the dreaded sits for week 9. Halloween's over, but that button will never stop. So, to share, here we go. We got sit quarterback week 9. Who you sitting down here?
I am sitting down Michael Penix Jr. against the New England Patriots. I just think that this game could get out of hand for him, and I think the New England Patriots have been playing well against quarterbacks on defense. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but I just think that the inefficiencies and the lack of consistency with Michael Penix this year, the too hot, too cold, And the injuries, I don't know if he's going to be, he's not even that mobile to begin with, but like coming off that energy and coming back, doing that against this hungry, just great defense of the New England Patriots. Christian Gonzalez will probably have the shadow on Drake London, which will hamper his day quite a bit. And I think that, Kyle Pitts is Kyle Pitts. And we've seen Bijan Robinson struggle against the Dolphins defense. Now, I don't think it's going to be as bad this week against New England Patriots, but I also don't see him having a super huge ceiling against that defense either. So I think Michael Penix is going to have a hard day coming against these Patriots, and I would tread with caution. I have a ceiling of 18 points and a floor of 12, and I don't really feel good. His prospects of having even in a super flex league being my quarterback too, I think I might want to pivot elsewhere this week if I could.
Okay, so Teixeira laying down the law, and I like to sit. I do. We're going to come over here to me now, Bob JJ McCarthy. Yeah, we know. I know. Michael Penix and JJ
How quickly he's turned on JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, Bob give up a hope on both of them at this point. But my quarterback I'm going to be sitting down is a guy we already mentioned real briefly. I'm going to go over it one more time. Bo Nix, going up against this Houston Texans defense. And, like I said, guys, you got to keep this in your memory banks. The Houston Texans pass defense has been killing quarterbacks, killing wide receivers. It's terrible. I like Bo Nix, the player. I think he's still going to be solid for much of the year, but it isn't just him. It's just whoever's coming up in this matchup. It hasn't been good. So go ahead and sit down Bo Nix. Now, coming into the running back sits, Teixeira. Running back you got for a sit for us. Who do you got this week?
I did a pair this week. They're on the same team. I got Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard. I think that the Packers defense...
That kills me. That kills me.
I know.
That kills me. Yeah, Rico Dowdle. I love Rico, but you're right. Go ahead. I'll let you keep going.
No, yeah, I was just going to say, that Packers defense, I think that they're just going to be too much to handle for this Panthers offense, and they're going to be able to have their way with that offensive line and get to Bryce Young and really frazzle and rattle him. And I think if Rico Dowdle starts off a little bit slow, they'll try to get Hubbard going, and if he stalls, then they're going to be in panic mode, and I don't see big days from either of those guys. I think their ceilings are about 12, 13 points, and their floor is about 8 to 9. It's going to be tough treading because I think that the Panthers are going to win this game to beat the Packers. It's going to be through the air.
Yeah, and I have to agree. We talked about that with Green Bay, right? So I do tend to agree with you. Now we got Joe chiming in here. No PPR.
Ooh, hello, Joe.
No PPR. Pick 3. London, Devontae Adams, Kyle Monangai, Travion Henderson, or Chase Brown. So there's a lot of guys on this list that are really good. So you got to pick 3 to share it. Drake London, Devontae Adams, Kyle Monangai, Travion Henderson, and Chase Brown. Who do you got?
I'm going to go with the 3 running backs and non-PPR. Give me the volume and opportunity. I know that London and Adams are your studs and your star players, and you want to throw them out there in your lineups, but in non-PPR, that's really hard because volume is key with them and opportunities. And if Puka is coming back with the Rams, how much of that chunk of that pie does Devontae Adams get this week? I know he'll get a reasonable amount. It's not going to be disrespectful, but I just like the consistency of Monangai, Henderson, and Chase Brown being on the field for 3 downs and me to have the opportunity to get more points and opportunities to score than the wide receivers here, even though I do like London and Adams.
Yeah, and we know that most likely Drake London's going to see Gonzalez with New England. So that's something to keep in mind. And you're right. This is non-PPR. I got to play those running backs. I got to play them this week. They're all really good matchups. They're guys that should see a lot of work. They should see a lot of work. So let's just hope that is the case. But I got to play them as well as far as that goes. But we're going to go into my running back sits. And I got a pair as well to share because great minds think alike. And, it's guys that I've said, well, especially one guy. Kenneth Walker III and Zach Charbonnet going up against the Washington Commanders. This backfield's been dreadful. There's nothing short of dreadful as far as what this backfield's been. Like the Seattle Seahawks built their team up to want to run the football and be a tough running team. and it just isn't happening. So I think that it's going to be another terrible performance. I don't see it getting any better. I mean, the Washington Commanders, I mean, they're not like a great run stuffing defense, but I just think that Seattle's turned the page. I think they want to throw the ball more. And really, you're just hoping if you have Charbonnet, the 1-yard touchdown plunge, Kenneth Walker, you're really hoping for a prayer and a dream. I'm trying to get these guys anyway, trying to upgrade off my roster. Running back 28 for Kenneth Walker right now. It's even worse than I thought. And he hasn't even been injured yet. Like, God forbid.
Isn't that weird? Like, he's healthy.
And I'm hoping that he's not injured, but like just the simple fact that like it's just been so terrible. And this guy is going to be nothing but a compliment. So I'm not playing either Seattle Seahawk running back. Hopefully they trade for an Achane. Hopefully they trade for a Brees Hall.
Please.
I think that could really get this running game going for that team. And I think that's what they need. So don't start the Seattle Seahawk running backs. Now, going to go into the receivers here to share a receiver sit you have for us for week 9. Who is it?
I'm just going to pair it up with the guy that's on the same team as your quarterback sit of the week of Bo Nix. I'm going to go Troy Franklin. I know he's been hot these last couple of weeks. He's been getting into the end zone. He's been playing well, but I want to reiterate to the fantasy community, the Houston defensive secondary is legitimate. They're sticky and they're resilient. They don't really let those secondary options on the opposing passing attack break out to have bigger games. They're doing well enough to shut down the number one option on other teams. And they've been really just making the secondary options obsolete. And I don't like the ceiling of a game that Troy Franklin can have this week. I have him as a ceiling of 10 points and a floor of 6 because I really think that when Bo Nix starts to struggle in this game, he's going to be hyper-targeting and hyper-feeding Cortland Sutton and trying to get him going. And I think even more so of a panic, Sean Payton's going to just try to get RJ Harvey in here and run the ball at J.K. Dobbins. I just don't hear what I'm not saying. What Troy Franklin's been able to do in these last 2 weeks could be fact. It could be something. It could be something we can invest in going forward rest of season. But for this week alone, it's too logical and too smart to just put him on the bench, let him cool off, and I'd rather have him sit on my bench this week to score that 10, 12 points than start him and get that 4 to 6 points that I think he'll end up more likely getting for you this week in your lineups and really killing your matchups.
So let me say this. Quentin Johnston light, right? Like, that's what I call Troy Franklin. Like,
there we go.
Now is the time to sell Troy Franklin from a dynasty perspective. Like, he played the horrible Dallas Cowboys defense. He had that monster game where he was wide receiver 1 overall. Like if you ever want to hear them expressions, once in a blue moon, pigs fly, when pigs fly. Like that is what happened for Franklin. I don't see it happening again. Look, I mean, I'm like you. I'm happy he's doing something, but like, can I use this as an opportunity to take Troy Franklin from a dynasty perspective and upgrade into a more steady, good, reliable receiver? Like, could I use him and go get Michael Pittman? Oh, that'd be a great, could you use him, go get a Lad McConkey, right? Like, just like, that's where I'm at right now with Franklin. Like, this is.
You can make it work for Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Oh, it'd be great if you could. But, like, this is the time. I mean, I would still much rather take the chance because to me, you're seeing the absolute ceiling of Troy Franklin. And I just don't, and I think that they're going to get more weapons in this team. And when that happens, he's just going to be that best bally Xavier Worthy. And I just, look, I mean, they're okay, but I just hate guys like that when you got to count on them because when you got to count on them, that's when they get you 5 points and that's when you lose. So I want to just take them guys, give me someone more sure and available. Wide receiver, I bet you right now he is wide receiver, and I'm glad you brought up Troy Franklin to share. Right now he's wide receiver 25. If he finishes as a wide receiver 3, I will eat a pair of socks. I don't see that happening. Like, I just don't see it happening. I don't like the schedule coming up for him. It's only going to get a little bit tougher, and I think that this team's going to continue to develop and use other weapons as well. So I'm glad that you brought up Troy Franklin. He's someone I'm going to use to upgrade. But let's go into tight ends here. Tight end sit to Sharon. What do you have for us this week?
I'm going with TJ Hawkinson. The Detroit Lions know this man all too well. They know his tool bag. They know what he's utilized for. They know what he can do, and they know what he's been known for the damage he can cause on a defense. And I don't think Dan Campbell and that coaching staff is going to let that slip through the cracks this week, having 2 weeks to prepare. I think they're going to have him locked down, shut down. They're going to try to have J.J. McCarthy force the ball down the field, try to beat them with Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson. They're not going to let this in the middle or in the red zone, slightly sneaky, finding the soft spot receiver and TJ Hawkinson beat them. I think he's got a ceiling of, again, probably 10 to 12 points, depending if the scoring is tight end premium, however you want to cut that. And his floor is probably like a 7 or 8. I mean, I could easily see him getting one big play or two big plays for like 30, 40 yards. But beyond that, I trust the Lions defense more to shut him down than I trust J.J. McCarthy and T.J. Hawkinson beating them on a play or two this week. And I just think that if you're forced to play him, fine, that's fair, but just temper expectations. If you don't have a better pivot option and you're rolling them out there, probably tend to change your lineup around. If you got him in your tight end spot, maybe you have a higher ceiling, big play, upside flex play, throw it in there, or you just hope that your stud positional players elsewhere can really have themselves like a Jonathan Taylor type game, because I feel like he's going to be the anchor of your lineup that's really going to pull you down this week if you have to start him.
Yeah, and Bob says always sit Kyle Pitts unless he's playing Tampa. Let me say this to you, Bob. I was looking at Kyle Pitts, a lot of green light matchups. So we got to see, like this is do or die, but I know Bob don't like Penix either. But let's get into it here. Last thing I want to ask you about TJ Hawkinson to share. I mean, it's bad. You know this Minnesota Vikings team. The quarterback play has been upside down. I mean, they just have so many weapons there. I know you're not a fan of this player, but from a dynasty move, would this make sense to trade him for Colston Loveland right now and try to get younger? Like, would you say you're a bad team and you have TJ Hawkinson? I mean, it's been very bad. I just don't like what I've seen. Would you make a gamble like that? I'm just curious.
That's my bias hat, taking it off.
Right.
Yeah, I can see myself doing that for Colston Loveland and going with the youth and trusting Ben Johnson's offense at the tight end position than playing this gamble anymore of TJ Hawkinson if they're getting it right with JJ McCarthy. I think TJ Hawkinson's proving he's very quarterback dependent play, and with Sam Darnold gone and that pocket passing type quarterback that's the steady Eddie, it's just he's a full year removed from the injury. He should be healthy, good to go, and playing well, but it's the lack of play at the court. Well, could be arguably said for the Bears as well, but I digress. My bias hat's off, and I think as much as I hate it to have on my roster looking at it from week to week, it makes sense. It's logical to get younger, to have the more potential ceiling of a better upside long term than trying to keep reaching for this short term investment in a TJ Hawkins to have it now. Like if I'm a rebuilder or a team that's like, say what it was like 2-6 or 1-7 this point in the year, I think I pull the trigger absolutely for sure. But if I'm like a team that's like, middle of the road, just at the edge of being a contender, then I think I'd still hold on to Hawkinson, try to make a push a little bit longer. But I don't hate the move, and I think I respectfully would do the decision if I was presented the opportunity.
Right, in a rebuild situation, why not take an opportunity? And I agree with you. Yeah, because I just don't think that, I think we're really seeing the end for TJ Hawkinson. It's a shame, but between the injuries, the target volume there, the quarterback play, and the fact that he's getting older. But we have KJ chiming in here, asking here.
What's up, KJ?
Here he goes. What's up, guys? Better flex start BTJ, Jacoby Myers, or Zach Charbonnet full PPR? No doubt, KJ. I'm going Brian Thomas Jr. I got to play him this week. This is a do or die type situation. I think that, if we're going to rely on Brian Thomas Jr., it's going to have to be now. The Raiders are so bad. They got to try to, do something with this. And I think that this is going to be an opportunity where they could throw the deep ball to Brian Thomas Jr., get him some opportunities downfield. And I'm going to play him this week. And the Seattle running back situation been so bad. And he also asked, should I play Hendo over Sharps as my running back 2, starting Vidal as my running back 1? Absolutely, KJ. Go with Travion. Travion and Brian Thomas Jr. That's where I'm going this week. I think they're both really good plays. Now let's hop back into my tight end sit here. And this guy here, you want to talk about disappointing. He is starting, and this is for you, Bob. He's starting to get into Kyle Pitts territory. Dalton Kincaid of the Buffalo Bills going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Last week it was set in stone. He had such a great opportunity to go ahead and take advantage of this matchup against the Carolina Panthers. Caught one pass. Now, I know he's coming back from injury, but what a letdown. I'm just so sick of the roller coaster. Many things people are sick with Kyle Pitts. I'm sick with Dalton Kincaid, too. I'm just fed up with it. If I could try to use him off a big game and get into another tight end, I'm going to do that as well. Coming up against the Chiefs here, who allowed the 5th fewest yards and 4th fewest fantasy point per game to the tight end. That doesn't give me a warm, fuzzy feeling. Buffalo's so inconsistent. It's a Josh Allen, James Cook show with the sprinkle in of maybe whoever else. Usually Khalil Shakir, right, that third guy. Love Khalil Shakir. I always talk about him. Another jacket holder as well. I'm going to have to get the full list. list.
We have to at some point.
Yeah, we'll sit down. We'll get the full list going into the off season, and we'll do a jacket show so everyone knows. But yes, Dalton Kincaid, take it with Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is the turd. Dalton Kincaid is the toilet paper you use after with wipe the turd. Flush them both down the toilet. I'm sick of it. I'm tired and fed up. Wiz, sell the mini helmet. But now we're going to go into the Dabble Fantasy start of the week and the Dabble Fantasy sit of the week, brought to you by Dabble Fantasy. As you all know, Dabble Fantasy sponsors Dynasty DNA. Great app as far as, as DFS things go, pick'ems, higher lowers, all kinds of great things over there. You got to get over there, use it. Get your Dabble on. Use Dabble Fantasy. Use the promo code DNA4. As a first-time user, they'll give you $10 in free play. Now, Tashara, quickly, your Dabble Fantasy start of the week. We have another question coming in, so we'll keep bouncing back and forth. But who is your Dabble Fantasy start of the week?
My Dabble Fantasy start of the week is James Cook, running back of the Buffalo Bills. I think he has himself a big game against this Kansas City defense at home. I think if there's any bit of Josh Allen struggling through the air, James Cook gets it done. He's got better vision. He's got better acceleration. He's been overperforming his ADP of what I thought he was going to do this year. He's just blowing my mind this year. I'm going to keep rolling off the hot hand, and I think the pressure is going to make a diamond this week against the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he's got a ceiling of 26 points for sure and a floor of 20, and in that, I want to roll him out there as my running back 1 or 2 for sure.
Another jacket holder, and I love it. James Cook, another guy that I'm a big fan of. What'd I say? Who was going to outperform ADP? James Cook. It's always
should have listened. I was one of those guys. I should have listened.
Always the easy answer. We love James Cook. Now we got Ray chiming in here. T-Mac, Travion Henderson, or Bam Knight for the flex spot PPR. I'm going Travion, Ray. I got to see what we have in him. He's going to get the opportunity. It's a good matchup. Go ahead and give me Travion. Now I'm going to go for my Dabble Fantasy start of the week. And what would it be if we couldn't get one bear in there for Bob and Tashara this week? It's going to be Rome Odunze going up against the Cincinnati Bengals, the vaunted Cincinnati Bengals secondary, who forfeited, the Jets their first win. Geez, oh man, you got to just admit this Bengals defense is terrible. That was the worst form of exhibition of defense I've seen between the Jets and the Bengals in that game. It was so back and forth, and boy, oh boy, they got the worst of it. And I just think that Rome Odunze is going to carve these guys up. I don't care what offense is playing them, what receiver's playing them right now. Unless you're the Steelers, who use tight ends, it seems like receivers are killing the Cincinnati Bengal defense. So go ahead and give me Rome Odunze this week, Dabble Fantasy Star of the Week. Now we have a question coming in here from our friend Ho-Up Piggy. How you doing? And I just wanted to make sure I got that right. My eyes ain't very good right now. I don't got any kind of glasses or contacts. It's a little bit blurry. But he does ask, do you guys have give trade advice? Absolutely. If you have a trade question, drop it in here. We'll talk about it. We got a couple more sit options to talk about, and we'll give you the best answer we can for your trade advice. But if you want to ask a question, feel free, drop it, and we'll answer it. No problem. But as we await the trade question, Tashara, we have our Dabble Fantasy sit of the week. So who do you have for us for a Dabble Fantasy Sit of the Week?
I am going to go with, I know it's a beloved guy, TJ. We like him. It's just not working out. And I think with the change at quarterback, it might just be a little too much on the road. I'm going to sit Chris Olave this week, my big sit of the week. I think Tyler Shough isn't necessarily the answer there for the New Orleans Saints, that he's going to get things rolling in his first start on the road against a playoff team like the LA Rams. I think Sean McVay will have those boys locked in and keyed, and I don't think Chris Olave is going to have much of a big game. I think I can maybe see, I'll be nice to him. I'll do his jersey number. I'll give him 12 points as a ceiling and a floor of like 8 or 9. It's just, if you're in full PPR league, that's where I'm going. Like 8 or 9 is the floor. Like if he gets it, he's going to get it through his receptions and not as much as yardage. And it's going to be really hard to find it and get into the end zone against this Rams defense. They're a really tough pass defense themselves. And yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to have to go with Chris Olave, just my sit of the week.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a killer. And you are hopeful, you know, when you get a quarterback change in some teams for some of these weapons to get going. So I definitely can see what you're saying. You know, there's probably a lot of hope for people out there that does happen. But I'm like you, like until I see it, and I just don't have a lot of faith in this offense in general. Like the Saints, you know, the Saints have been a feisty team. I give them credit. Their defense, they've been playing tough, but this offense is still a dumpster fire any way you kind of cut it. But now I'm going to go over to my Dabble Fantasy Sit of the Week, and I'm going to go with the quarterback. And, you know, I feel like the guy that's going to pee on the campfire because everyone's so excited.
I love it.
The last couple weeks, you know, like, oh, he's back, you know, like, and all the hope, like, I'm going to be the guy that throws that on the fire and dampen it. So it's going to be CJ Stroud this week. And it kills me to say that because the last couple weeks, we've seen a lot better. I mean, against Baltimore, he was the quarterback 1 a few weeks back, coming off the bye, then quarterback 15-11. Very serviceable for CJ Stroud. A lot better than what we've seen, but going up against this Denver Broncos team. Now, if there is one bet this week that I feel very good about, if you say, TJ, what's going to hit? Give me one bet. Take the under of the Denver-Houston game because I think it's going to be. I just don't see these teams really lighting up the scoreboard too much. I think that the under would be a smart bet. I don't know what the total is. Maybe I'm just putting my foot in my mouth. Maybe the odds makers are like, yeah, let's just make it 21 points, you know, and then I'm going to be in a bad spot. But if it's a reasonable amount of points, like 35 or above, I'm taking the under. I just think that this is going to be a low, ugly scoring game. CJ Stroud, Bo Nix, I don't think are going to fare well. Either of them will. And a lot of them weapons on them teams are going to suffer, unfortunately. But we're waiting to see here. If you have a question, go ahead and drop it. Oh,
here we go.
Okay, we have a trade question. We have a 14 PPR league. I made a trade and have a lot of running backs. Okay, Javonte, Kyron Williams, Breece Hall, and Chase Brown. My receivers are Ibuka and Diggs. Any recommendation for receivers to trade for and with who? So any receivers that you want to maybe target right now to share off the top of your head? I know there's some guys that are always a little bit tougher, maybe, and it just depends. Let me ask you this now. Is this a redraft league or is this a dynasty league? Because that's another thing. It's kind of seeing where, like, if you have draft picks in dynasty, that helps, and a redraft. But, like, just off the cuff, like, is there a couple guys that you're looking at maybe you'd be willing to trade for to spike your team a little bit, give them a little bit of juice to share?
Yeah, I got a couple of names. Michael Pittman Jr. absolutely is the top guy. Brian Thomas Jr. would be the second guy. And then if I was going to go for a third guy, Shakir, because he's awfully informed, I think down the stretch, they still have to play, you know, the rest of the AFC East, which is cakewalk games. And he tends to have just monster games against those AFC rival teams. And I think it's mainly the price. Yes, you could argue, the performance is not as big, it's not high of a ceiling, but yeah, but he's consistent and he's often part of one of the top receiving targets in that offense. And he's attached to one of the top QBs in fantasy and in the NFL. And you want to see that, you want to have that security. I mean, if you want to feel even spicier, if this Jacoby Brissett project even keeps going well, try to get Marvin Harrison Jr. if it's a dynasty. I mean, even a redraft I would try just to give you some insurance, because I think that inconsistency of Diggs as your secondary starting wide receiver there. I think if you get a little bit younger and get a true wide receiver one in that offense, because I think Kayshon Boutte, Demario Douglas, and some of those other guys are going to keep eating into even Henry. You're going to eat in Diggs' production and his consistency. I would try, I guess my best advice to give you is one of these top, highly sought after receivers that are underperforming up until this point. Try to get them at value if you can off the owners that are frustrated and fed up with them in a redraft league and want to get more of like one of your consistent running backs in return for it if it's just a straight up trade.
Yeah, and I love all the names you said. I love it. Like you and I, we've been, we're on the same telepathic wavelength. I love a lot of them names you said. I think there are a lot of good ones. Like just for example here, like, okay, could you trade, and this is redraft, so he told us it's redraft. So could you trade Breece Hall for Michael Pittman? Like I would do that 100 times out of 100 right now.
Ride or die is Breece Hall with me, but if Breece Hall doesn't get traded, I think you win that deal long-term rest of the season.
Absolutely. Could you trade like Chase Brown for Khalil Shakir? Like I like a move like that. Yeah. And let me just say this. One other name, Jordan Addison. I love Jordan Addison. You want to get a guy that's a little bit cheaper, another jacket wearer player from Team TJ. Jordan Addison, every week this guy, and I tell him it's going to happen. You look down the stretch, weeks 14 to 17, all green light matchups for Jordan Addison. A great ad potentially. You could get him. And, just for example, you could maybe trade Chase Brown for him. Like, I have no problem with that. You can make a move like that. So I hope that helped you. Them guys are all really good names. Your Michael Pittmans, your Jordan Addisons, like a lot of Khalil Shakir, a lot of the names that Teixeira mentioned as well. Like, them are all guys I'd be looking at. I think Pittman would be a great guy to get. Wide receiver 6 right now. If you could get him for Breece Hall, I would do that. And a lot of other great options there as well. So, I think that them will be some great moves. So we got one more question here, unless another one leaks in. We have trade Olave, Gente, and Bam Knight for Bijan. Yes, smash that. Absolutely. 100%. I would take
Bijan.
Look, Chris Olave, whether it's dynasty or redraft, I'm making this trade. Dynasty, that's just a great move long term. I like Chris Olave. He's a dime a dozen. Wide receiver 2-3 type player. That's even if he's healthy. Jenny, too inconsistent with the Raiders. I don't see it getting better. I think it only gets worse before it gets better. And then Bam Knight's just a nothing. So yes, give me Bijan Robinson. And we have Piggy chiming back in here. I had an offer, Olave for Brown. Olave is good in full PPR with all targets. Has the Saints offense is pretty bad. Yeah, look, that isn't bad. That isn't bad at all. Now let me just say this though. If I don't mind that getting Olave and Chase Brown, that kind of a deal. That's no problem. But if I could get Jordan Addison, I would take Addison first. 100%.
Yeah. If you get multiple offers, I think we're in agreement that Olave is probably on the lower end of the tiers of where you would go. Like if you couldn't get the Addison deal done or the Shakir deal done or the other options, I for it. I would do it.
Yeah, 100%. So another great episode, man. Appreciate you guys all tuning in with us. If you guys are enjoying the questions or if you guys are enjoying the show and you appreciate the feedback and all that, please join us over at the Podcasting Network, Spotify, Apple Pod, Stitcher, Amazon, all the big podcasting platforms. You can check out all the shows. We do 3 to 5 of them a week on average. We got the deep dive. We got From Whistle to Whistle, the Triple Threat Show, Stardom Sit 'em Saturday. And if you're around, make sure to join us for the Dynasty DNA morning show tomorrow as well. Make sure to check that out as well. But we have one more question coming in, and I will never begrudge anybody. I'm always here to help. We will close it out.
Steven.
Steven, good evening. Needs help picking my second running back spot and my second flex spot in a full PPR matchup this week. Deciding between Bam Knight, Rico Dwaddle, Jordan Addison, Kenneth Walker, DJ Moore, Romeo Dobbs. So he's got his second flex spot he's trying to pick for here and his second running back spot. So guessing to start 2 of them guys, you got to pick one running back and one flex. Teixeira, who are you looking at?
I'm going to go, my flex out of all these is going to be Jordan Addison, and my running back is going to be Rico Dowdle. I just think that the Jacoby Brissett passing game is going to be a little bit more predominantly showcased than the Bam Knight running. He'll still have a good, nice day, but I'm going to go with the more consistent what I've seen of Rico Dowdle up to this point. I think I'm going to trust him in my lineups there. And then I just, DJ Moore and Dobbs is just too spiky of a situation that I don't want to stick my hands in. I'd rather go and try to get the treat this weekend of a Jordan Addison broken play, bomb play for a touchdown, because he's always known for that. He always breaks one every once in a while. So I'm going to bank on that, then trying to get volume from either Dobbs or Moore.
Yeah, and I agree. You nailed it, Teixeira. That's exactly who I'm going to go with as well. Put me Rico Dowdle in that running back spot. Put me Jordan Addison in the flex. I mean, one thing about Jordan Addison, been as consistent as consistent can be. You know, I really like what I've seen. You know, it just seems like them quarterbacks, whoever's playing in Minnesota, really target him. So, yes, I agree. Them are the two options I go with. Good luck, Steven. We hope you get the win.
Thank you, Steven.
Thanks for subscribing as well. I've seen you subscribe. We really appreciate that. And join us anytime, ask questions anytime. So we have another question coming in here, and it's going to be from Ryle. He asks, season on the line, start 2, Kittle, Debo, or Kraft. So season's on the line here, Teixeira. You're going to start 2 out of 3 of those players. You know, we talked about flexing tight ends and how that's become more prevalent in my eyes a little bit. Who are you going to go with out of that crew?
I love this emerging strategy of this 2025 Dynasty fantasy year of just, if it looks like a duck, sounds like a duck, and acts like a duck, it's the year of the tight end, Tej, at the flex spot. I'm gonna keep rolling with it. I'm gonna go Kittle and Kraft. I like the production, I like the consistency, and I love the rapport that those two receiving options have with their quarterbacks. So I know Debo, he's a little bit snake bitten. Yeah, he's got those boomy weeks, but he's really broken down this year and busted and really has hurt you in your lives when you've needed to depend on him, and he hasn't given you that production you need in a flex spot. Where like these quarterbacks this year, I don't know what sort of frequency they're on, but it's check down to the tight end. They're my security blanket. Go to the tight end. When plays break down, go to the tight end. When I need a big play, go to the tight end. It's usually one of their first 2 reads, and it's been remarkable how much that's been hitting all over the place this year. And I'm going to keep rolling out I consider them studs still at this point, Kraft and Kittle. I'm going to have some Kraft Skittle. I'm going to have some Kraft singles. I'm going to eat a bag of Skittles this weekend.
That's what we talk about. Touchdowns, tight ends, and Taco Bell and the flex.
Oh, yeah.
Play them guys, man. I agree. Give me Tucker Kraft and George Kittle as well. And look, and that's the thing, like when my season's on the line, give me the reliability, right? Like, I mean, like, I know George Kittle's been hurt, but like for the longevity of his career, the guy's been so solid. You can trust him. And that's the same with Tucker Kraft. Like there's no reason we can't take him out. Like he's just been too good. And it's another great matchup this week, but really awesome, guys. We appreciate the questions. All the new subscribers. Thank you for hopping in with us. You're always welcome. Ask questions, even during, when we're not available, you can ask here. So we have Todd chiming in right now.
Hey, Todd.
Start Flacco, Jacoby Brissett, or Mac Jones. So let me just say this. We've talked about this a little bit, Todd. I got to go Jacoby Brissett because, I mean, he's sneakily been way better than what people think. We talked about the struggles of Kyler Murray. I mean, he's playing the Dallas Cowboys, who just get absolutely shelled by quarterbacks and receivers and things like that. Both starts that Jacoby Brissett have made has been quarterback 1 starts between 1 and 12. He's been there in the 1 and 12 range, so he's been very reliable, very good in a very friendly matchup this week. And we talked about Jacoby being a guy that's not chump change. He's been around the league a long time. He can play. I trust him. And look, Flacco could be a little intriguing against the Bears, but he is injured. Mac Jones has played a little bit well, a little bit more, a little bit more better than what we thought too, right? So like, I mean, very credible to him being a retread type of guy. Next season could be a good target. But yeah I'm going to go Jacoby Brissett. Do you agree here, Teixeira?
Absolutely. There's a little bit more volatility in the game of Mac Jones and Flacco this week. Both are kind of not 100% healthy. Nobody is at this point, but like they throwed some question marks with their matchups. I know the Bears can play frisky and hard, and for the 49ers, they got a respectable matchup themselves. And I think that I am going to go with it. The Dallas defense is way too tempting to bet against or to depend on them. Like it's just low hanging fruit, is like we like to say around the network here. It's just, you gotta take the bite of that apple sometimes. And accept the guilt of it and just roll with it, because in the end, it could be the best thing for your lineups. Just, go with the not necessarily the obvious option, but just, trust your instincts and trust what you've seen up to this point going up against defenses in the league, and play those players on the opposite side of the ball against them. And I think Brissett is a competent and compatible enough quarterback in that Cardinals offense to have himself a formidable game.
All right. Yeah, we're on the Jacoby train this week. We got another one coming in here from Ryan on Twitter.
Hello, Ryan.
Need a flex, Kittle, BTJ, or Chase Brown PPR. So this is very interesting. A lot of good players available here to put in to share. Who are you going to go for in a flex out of those three guys?
Oh, man.
This is like the Austin Powers movie. Come on, Teixeira, grab the handle, bite your lip, and we'll get through this.
I'm going to go with Brian Thomas Jr. because I want it so bad for him. I want it to come back. I want him to rise again like The Undertaker and just choke slam the Raiders into non-existence. And I think he can do it. He can do it. He can do it. Let's go. I'm going BTJ. I love Chase Brown. It was really close, razor's edge. I just needed to pinch it off there at the end. And, I'm going BTJ.
All right. And, I got to agree with you. And I'm like you. And here's the thing, Ryan. We got to rely on him at some point.
If you could fit two of or three, if you could fit more than one of these guys in your lineup, I ideally would like that if you could.
Must have a stacked team, I'll say that.
Yeah.
But let me
Ryan
just
knows what he's doing.
Yeah, it's PPR. I got to go Brian Thomas. If we're going to see anything, now's the time. This Raiders team is terrible on all forms and fashions. It's going to happen at some point. I love George Kittle, but look, we still know that there's a little bit of injury bug, this and that going around the 49ers, so that isn't quite a guarantee. I still like him a lot, and I do like Chase Brown this week, but, the Bengals could go maybe 1, 2, 3 different directions. They got a lot of different weapons. Joe Flacco, if he is healthy, can be good enough to get it to anybody. And I do think that you're really relying on a touchdown for Chase Brown more than anything. But yes, Caleb Williams is even a good option for Bob against the Cowboys. And I could be a good option against the Cowboys right now. We could come out there, Team Dynasty DNA. We have Bob at left tackle. We could have all kinds of great weapons. Slim's pretty tall. We could put him on the outside.
He'll be our Kyle Pitts. We can put him at tight end.
Yeah, there you go. And then we could have Teixeira on the outside, Ty in the backfield. Mike Shanuti could be the center. We'd be rolling.
Oh, yeah. He seems like if Mike Shanuti was to play an NFL position, it is definitely the center. He is a gritty-ass mofo. I feel like he'd be the guy to just rub some noses in it.
Yeah, and we'd have Dynasty Dog Mike on the outside as well.
Oh,
and Wiz would be calling the plays. We could put him
up. Oh, he's our Ben Johnson. He's our Jim Harbaugh.
That's right. He's very smart. He's our technology guy, so he's got to be. Yeah. I got to give Wiz a lot of credit. But no, we got Rao asking here, Darnold or Nix? I'm definitely going Darnold. Going Darnold. Yeah, 100%. Bo Nix going up against Texans. Texans have been very good, as we said a lot tonight, against tight ends, receivers, quarterbacks. They've been killing them guys. So, yeah, Sam Darnold, a good matchup. I think we're going to see him kind of bounce back, post-bye week here for the Seahawks. I'm sure Slim will be happy about that. But unless there's more questions coming in, which I love, I can go all night long. So we'll see here, but we'll try to close it out here. If anyone has any other ones, feel free to message me. Don't feel afraid while I'm closing out the show. We'll get you in. That's what it's all about. But this has been a great episode. We appreciate all the support, the new subscribers, the friends here in the chat asking questions. That's what it's all about. The door is always open, guys. If you want to ask questions here on YouTube, if that's the only outlet you can get us on, comment on a video. We will get back to you, right? That's not a problem. If you want to follow us on Twitter at DynastyDNA_. You can message us there. You could also, the Facebook page, if you have Facebook. Teixeira has been killing it over there. We're going to be putting out more reels, shorts. All the guys have been doing a great job. Fantasy Football Podcasting Network, Dynasty DNA. I cut that off. Dynasty DNA, Fantasy Football Podcasting Network. Teixeira has been doing a great job. Check that out. You want to join the Discord if you're a Discord person, Dynasty DNA Discord. You ask for the link. We will give you that. You can ask questions in there. A lot of outlets you can reach us. We will always answer questions. We will always get back to you guys. That's what it's all about. But been a great episode. We appreciate the support. No problem at all, Ryan. We appreciate the question. I think that we have to go BTJ as well. We're with you on that. Let's hope that he does it. I think that he will. We'll be crossing our fingers. Good luck in your matchup. But if you do enjoy the content and you want to check out all the shows, check out on Spotify, Apple Pod, Stitcher, Amazon, all the big podcasting platforms. You won't be disappointed. Go over there and check it out. If you do enjoy the content, please follow and 5-star the show. It greatly helps, and we so appreciate it. If you are watching on YouTube and you haven't yet, please subscribe and like. We appreciate that more than anything. Comment. We always have time for you guys. But this is going to do it. And I know I speak for Teixeira when we say we hope you have a great week 9. Good luck in all your games. If you have any extra questions too, Dynasty DNA Morning Show tomorrow. Join us live here, Twitter, YouTube. We'll be here. We'll answer your questions. But until then, have a great night, and we will see you all on the next episode.